Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Before we get started, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Yo, it just might be time for Masai Ujiri and the Toronto Raptors to go ahead and press that button. To hit the proverbial blow up button. I want to dive into that in this video. I know it's going to be controversial. And let me just start off by saying I don't like the idea of it. I don't. If you follow my channel, you understand and you know that I overstand how much blowing it up usually never reaps you the rewards and the dividends that you are expecting it to bring you. Many times you're actually just hoping to get back to exactly where you left when you blew it up. And that is considered a success. For me, I always believe in doubling down, making tweaks, small adjustments, a coaching change here, adding an additional two-way player, the right piece, the right contract, staying flexible, keeping your core together, developing your guys, drafting well, developing well. That's generally the path that I say to take. And it's generally been the path that the Toronto Raptors and Masai Ujiri have taken over his tenure, which is why I'm sure this is an idea that he hates as well. This is a team that he built. This is a team that he put together. This is a team that he believes in. Even though Nick Nurse had lost the locker room, was failing to make the adjustments, and really failed his team. He failed the team. He failed to make the most of the talent that they had. I said at the beginning of the season that this was a top 4 Eastern Conference seed. I think that they were built better than the New York Knicks, built better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had more experience. They had 2 All-Stars and an All-NBA player, all defensive level players. They had depth. They had versatility. They had length, talent, athleticism. They had pretty much everything that you need. And the coach couldn't put it together. He was stubborn. He refused to make the necessary adjustments, to admit that he was wrong and needed to pivot. And as a result, this team underwhelmed and they lost in the play-in. And now they're in the lottery. But the reason why they should make this move is not just because we still believe in the roster or we fail to believe in the roster. That has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with what the Portland Trail Blazers must do in the situation. Right now, the Portland Trail Blazers are a middling, small market team who has struggled to make the most of having a superstar. Now, you have to understand the narrative of the NBA is that there is a need to create more parity. And right now in the NBA, there's more parity than there has ever been. And so to have a superstar player for the length of time that they've had him, who has been dedicated to sticking with his team, despite them failing him and never putting a championship roster around him, despite his loyalty, they have failed him. And this is a moment where the league is looking at them as they miss out on the number 1 draft pick, Victor Wembanyama, and the number 2 draft pick, Scoot Henderson. They are at number 3. And there's nobody at number 3 who can help them right now win a championship. And so not only are they looking to move this pick, but they are looking to make championship roster moves. They're desperate. And what that means for the Toronto Raptors is that they have an opportunity to leverage their All-NBA player, the guy who has been their loyal superstar. And I believe Pascal Siakim is right there on that edge of superstar. He's definitely a star. Multiple time All-NBA, multiple time All-Star. He is a star. But what they could potentially get in return for him impacts on several levels. The first level is the roster formation. They get younger with an opportunity to wield back in return Anfernee Simons, who just got signed to his deal. He's young, he's talented, he's a shooter, shot maker, shot creator. Great size for his position, 6'4". He has the ability to be the point guard of the future for this team. They also have Shaedon Sharpe to offer. Toronto hasn't seen athleticism like him since Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady was there. He looks every bit the potential superstar that we thought he could have been in last year's draft. Had he played at Kentucky or the G League or at least played somewhere last season, I think, not last season, but the season before, I think he would have been a top 3 pick in last year's draft. But instead, he fell to the Portland Trailblazers, and all of a sudden, he just looks incredible off their bench. The Toronto Raptors have an opportunity to wield back in a trade for Pascal Siakam, the backcourt of their future. But not only do they get younger, I also foresee with that number 3 pick, they're likely going to take Amen Thompson. Because once again, superstar potential. His ability to play make for others, facilitate, great floor vision, get to the rim at will. He's essentially Shaedon Sharpe point guard. His athleticism is rare. His floor vision is rare. And when you can build around rare talent, you have to go for it. And so in one fell swoop, they can bring in Amen Thompson, Anfernee Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, while still retaining Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, Christian Koloko, Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa, Delano Banton, Malachi Flynn. You get the point here. Even if Gary Trent Jr. opts into his contract, they'll have Gary Trent Jr. They can essentially get 3 for the price of 1. But not only that, but it gives them the flexibility to get far under the salary cap. They can allow Fred VanVleet to walk. Even if he opts in, they can always trade him. Gary Trent Jr., even though he's young, he's still only 25, 26 years old. If they wanted to, they can always trade him if he opts in or allow him to walk. Jakob Poeltl, they don't need to re-sign him anymore because they're going young. They are rebuilding. And that gives them an opportunity to get younger, get just as much talent infused or close to it, and get far under the salary cap. Now you add in a new coach who doesn't have the pressure of winning right away. Because unless they can get somebody like Mike Budenholzer, who already has his system ready, his offensive philosophies, to come in, who's coached a winning team, and you know what he can bring is exactly what you need in terms of offensive structure that maximizes your talent. Unless you could get somebody like that, I don't see any other coaches coming. I don't see any other coaches coming who can coach a top 4 team in their conference into the finals, into the conference finals, because that would be the expectation if they keep this team together. With Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, and that bench crew of Precious Achiuwa, Christian Koloko, Delano Banton, Malachi Flynn, and the rest, this would be an Eastern Conference Finals team. That is what the expectation would be if they bring this team back. Is there somebody who can lead that team? I don't know. And so this is where Masai Ujiri has to sit down in. He's got to take a seat, pull up to his desk, get his counsel around him, and say, can we make this move with this roster and whoever we can bring in to coach it? Do we have the pieces? Do we have the potential candidates? Who can we bring in? And if his answer is not a resounding yes, he's got to make this trade. It's not one that he's going to want to make, but it might be the one that's best for this franchise and for their future. But as always, I want to know what you think. Holler at me in the comment section. Should they make this trade of Pascal Siakam, the beloved Toronto Raptor? Or should they double down on this roster, bring in a veteran coach, and give it a second go? Holler at me in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.